hello from Gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and you're very welcome to this greenhouse update. So in just a few moments we're going to go into the greenhouse here and have a look at my plants to see what's in bud and what's in flower and what's looking really good at the moment. And I know there are a number of people out there who really love the greenhouse updates, so I hope I can give you some nice surprises. And just a word as well that in this video we're going to talk about the third clue in my competition. And as you know, on this channel we're having a competition to win one of the Gardening at Douentza t-shirts as sported here. I have various designs, so if you don't like streptocarpus then maybe this isn't the one for you, but there are other ones if you win. So stay tuned, listen to the third clue in the competition, and let's get on with the video. So without much further ado, in we go to the greenhouse, just pausing ever so briefly to have a look at this bush on the step and the wonderful cluster of flowers that it's producing. And this is Fuchsia boliviana, and it's a first flowering for this seed-grown bush, so I absolutely can't wait to see what these tubular flowers look like. Now you will remember from previous videos that we had two of them. There was previously another one on the other side of the step, but that other one hasn't done too well and I've moved it off and pruned it back. Agapanthus Queen Mum, coming to the end of its cycle really. We have a few more buds coming, but that's about it. But a beautiful, beautiful Agapanthus. And behind we have Amaryllis belladonna. Now this is the true Amaryllis, not a hippeastrum. The ones that we grow at Christmas and fondly refer to as Amaryllis. This is a real Amaryllis, and this one is grown in a pot. I've had 2 spikes this year and we've missed the flowering. In my last garden video you can see this on the step in better flower than it is now. But do you know what? That's not so bad, because I do have a second pot of Amaryllis, and this one is also going to flower for me this year. Look at that. So I'm pleased with that. No stirring on the one I brought back from the Azores last year. Okay, so I guess we're kind of in the greenhouse now, and we're looking at the Tibouchina, which produces these glorious soft fluffy buds and purple flowers, and it's just coming into flower at the moment, just kind of swinging around to give you a better view, and there it is. So this plant has done really quite well this year, since it's had a lot more watering, and I hope it'll go from strength to strength. Okay, and I guess the place to start as usual is to just give you a bit of a pan around the greenhouse so that you can see what's in store for you in terms of the plants that I'm going to be talking about. Of course, a pan doesn't include everything because we do have lower staging, which I may include in the tour, but we can't see in a quick pan. So, well, anyway. More stuff down on this side, and ending up pretty much where we started off. And now, well, let's get down to business. And I think just for the sake of variety, we'll start down here at my feet, where the enormous leaves of the tree tomato are really looking fantastic at the moment. Now this is a plant I've grown from seed, probably needs to go into a bigger pot at this stage, and it's tender of course, so it's going to have to stay the winter in the greenhouse, but this is really looking good. This is the biggest one we're looking at here, but really gorgeous sexy leaves. My Alocasia is looking good. Perhaps this needs a repot as well. But yeah, And it's looking quite good. Yeah, I think it does need a repot. Whether I get around to doing that or not is another question. And then behind it we have a couple of interesting characters. Now this one here, Jatropha. Some of you may recall that I bought this bush last year. The foliage was black at that stage in time. I guess it comes about through lots of light. But it's had a kind of checkered history since I brought it home. And in autumn last year it started to go asleep, and I brought it into the house because this is a kind of 10-degree minimum plant rather than a 5-degree minimum plant, which is what the greenhouse is. Brought it in and it lost its leaves and went dormant and went to sleep. And I contacted a friend of mine who grows this plant to ask him what was the best way to treat it, and he said just be very careful of watering when it's dormant, and in spring then, you know, when it starts into life again, then you can start watering it. But it never woke up. It just never woke up, and I guess I was just too strict with the non-watering. Until very recently, just very recently, the blooming thing has started to come into leaf. You can see these aren't even open fully yet. And there's the base of the plant. So I have no idea what the heck this is going to do now. It's going to get too cold for it. It's going to want to go dormant, but it hasn't had a full season, and I have no idea how this one will pan out. But anyway, that's the update. I know somebody was looking for an update on that, so there you have it. Behind we have Sinningia, and this is the lipstick plant, a gorgeous codex plant that looked amazing last time we saw it. Kind of going over now and could do with a bit of a tidy up. And you can see that it has a codex down there. So this is a plant that, well, gosh, it doesn't want to show. It has this structure that sits proud of the soil. Beside the tree tomato we have Solanum quitoense, the spiny one, which produces purple veins and orange spines and is really quite gorgeous, doing well. We have papayas, the mountain papayas, which are doing well. And very funny story, my daughter came into the greenhouse recently and she said, "Mom, are you growing weeds in pots?" I said, "No, that's a papaya. And what's more than that, it's a papaya that's grown for its leaf by me, because it makes these really tropical looking leaves. So the fact that she thought it looked like a weed is very disconcerting altogether." So moving along here, we have Haemanthus coccineus. I repotted this year. It's looking really quite big. And here we have the Scadoxus, which has flowered. Again, I'm putting the names up on the screen. Now this one has a bit of an old rust virus or something in it, but it produced a couple of flowers this year, and I think that one's coming. One's coming. We have a smaller Haemanthus. Oh, that's the montanus one, which is not doing a whole lot. Could do with a bit of water. And big epiphyllum here. And oh yeah, these are the small aeoniums I had that were grown from seed, and I've potted some of them on now. This isn't the variegated one that you saw me sowing a while back. This is the other one, and some of them have been potted on, together with a large number of my epiphyllums. I did a major epiphyllum repotting. And above the epiphyllum we have begonias, looking quite pretty at the moment. The big epiphyllum, which didn't get repotted, and my ackermanii, which has decided to flower. There you go. And this one actually has 2 more buds at the end of this very ugly leaf. So I'm in for a bit of a treat. Isn't it pretty? Super. Okay, here we have some more small succulents, and these are mostly the ones that I didn't get round to potting. Oh whoa, and some more. At the back here we have that tray of aeonium seedlings, from which the ones you just saw came. And here's the chrysanthemum I bought at Tatton Park, which I doubt will do anything very much this season. Beside it, we have seedlings. And we have, first of all, a half tray there and a full tray there of digitalis foxgloves. And these are fancy ones. There's an orange one and there's a white one. The white one is palm split. Now, it's probably a bit late in the day for sowing digitalis. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Are they just going to flower really late next year? But anyway, I couldn't wait, so I sowed them and we'll see what happens. And at the back we have the hollyhock seeds that I bought in Tatton Park, and they've already produced quite sturdy little plants which I hope will grace my garden next year. And here we have seedlings from the Valtimia that I talked about sowing in a previous video, and they've just come up. So I'm going to have lots and lots of pink Valtimia. Now, this cell here is where I sowed the 2 bouffon seeds that my plant produced. When it flowered, it just produced 2 seeds, but they haven't come up yet. And now I'm glad to bring you the 3rd clue in the competition, and it's really encouraging to see how many people have taken part in this, how many people have read my book, Journal of an Irish Garden, and have answered the questions and are kind of very actively involved in the channel. So thank you to everybody who's taking part. Okay, here's the 3rd clue. So in the book there are 2 perennials that are mentioned in the same chapter with rhyming names, and each of the 2 was grown from seed by my sons. So can you name those 2 perennials? And if you have your hands on the book and you can't think what I'm talking about, a little hint is that the name of the 2 perennials is the title of the chapter. Okay, so as usual, please send me an email with your answer to this question, and don't forget that I need answers to all 3 questions for you to be in for a chance to win the prize. So if you haven't answered the others, now is a good time to do it. And we're going to leave the competition open for a week from the date of today's video, and then I'm going to choose a winner at random from all of the correct answers. So thank you very much for taking part. If you don't already have a copy of my book, Journal of an Irish Garden, then check out the link at the video link at the very end of this video, or in the details where you can go and you can purchase a copy of the book, and then when we do one of these competitions again next time, you can also take part. And of course the t-shirts and the other merchandise from Gardening at Douentza channel are available to buy. Again, check out the link in the video description. And here at the top of the staging, we've come from down there. So at the top of the staging we have the things that are looking the best at the moment. Now, don't be confused by all that yellow in the background. This is the Silphium that's planted outside in the border, and it does make a kind of nice autumny backdrop at this stage in the game. But if you want to hear more about that, then you should check out my August garden tour video. So we have pelargoniums in flower at the moment, and yeah, what have I not talked to you about in a while? I guess that agave attenuata, the one that's cramped into a tiny pot, is really looking gorgeous at the moment. And the Sinningia, this is the one with the silver leaf and it makes orange flowers. This had a repot. I did a major succulent repotting. This was in a pot with another succulent that I think was kind of taking over, so I'm glad I've given it its own space because it's a lovely plant and I wouldn't want to lose it. And behind we have the impatiens. So this is producing some very fine leaves. it does tend to, some very fine flowers, I beg your pardon, it does tend to get yellowy leaves, whether that's the change in temperature or what, I'm not quite sure, but it's a nice one to have. And here the Cuphea is producing its very cute orange and yellow flowers that look like little cigars or little insects, depending on the way your imagination runs. And some of you may recall that this plant I thought was dead after I had been away and it hadn't been watered properly, and I had to cut it back, but it has rewarded me by springing up, so that's really good. And down the front we have a Scilla, which I bought in spring, and it's doing well. No sign of flowers, but it is doing well. And then kind of moving over, so oh yes, this thing here, so this is a Crassula, and it has a funny flower spike. Look at that, very funny. So I can't remember if this one ever flowered before, but I'm looking forward to see what kind of weird and wonderful flowers this produces. Now, okay, this here, look at that. This is a species Pelargonium, the one that has a common name of Old Man Live Forever, and it produces this really gnarled trunk. It is looking amazing this year. Look at all that foliage. Now, I did give it a repot, so maybe that has something to do with it, but look, I don't remember it looking so good in a long time. So pleased with that. And okay, in terms of exciting Pelargonium news, take a look at this. Would you look at that? It's a Pelargonium that's yellow. I kid you not. And of course I got this from Potted Jewels Pelargonium Nursery. And at the end I will link again to Liga's channel. This is my friend Liga, who owns the Potted Jewels Pelargonium Nursery. Isn't it absolutely amazing? Now, she did warn me when she gave me this fantastic Pelargonium that you do need to manage it. You need to cut back, otherwise you end up with flowers on long mad stems. And obviously I haven't been managing this well enough, because that's what I have, but you know what, I have the flowers and I'm absolutely delighted for that. In the background there is Hydrangea Aisha, which is outside the greenhouse and is just trying to confuse the picture, but isn't it lovely? There's little shades of pink in there as well. Really unusual. Gorgeous thing. And over here we have another, this time a species Pelargonium. Let's just put the yellow one there in the background of the frame. And this one is in full flower. This is a winter flowering one normally, but it's decided it's going to flower for me this summer, and it's had a succession of flowers. And in fact we have also this flower stem here, which is looking super, and I just removed one before the video, and there's this one as well, and there's this one which is a bit twisted, but it's going to produce a lot of buds, so it's doing really super. And oh yes, okay, Jacobinia. I'm so glad this came back for me. Now, this is one I have had for several years. It came from Italy originally, and it is gorgeous in autumn to have these flowers, and I thought I'd lost it, cut it back, and lo and behold it started to resprout, and this year, well, just recently then, it started sending up these lovely flowers. Aren't they super? And in fact it's a much bushier plant than it was before. It was kind of a one stem wonder before, but now it's got, well, it's got 3-4 stems, 6, 3, 4, 5, so it's, yeah, it's much better. I'm really pleased with that. I would have been upset to lose that. I know we shouldn't get upset about plants, losing plants. I mean, you know, they're just plants, but it's hard not to sometimes. In this corner here we have all of those epiphyllums that I repotted, and it's hard to actually take a look, but they are the smaller sized ones. And on this table we have mostly succulents that I've repotted, and this is my agave, Mediopicta. This is the children of my agave, Mediopicta, and recently I repotted them, and this one here had babies which have been given their own pots now, so we'll see how they turn out. And this is kind of one that has sentimental value to me, so I'm pleased it's doing so well. And underneath the table, well, we have my trug with the mix I've been using for repotting those succulents. We have my fern tray there, but we have some other things that I haven't yet planted out. And what is really looking well at the moment is my bouffons. And these are ones I grew from seed a year and a half ago. Made a video about it, and I've got 3 really healthy looking ones there, and also there in that pot there. And they just seem to have responded well to going out to the greenhouse as opposed to being indoors the whole time. This is a Mephorchus, also grown the same time, and this one is just totally wimpy. It doesn't seem to be doing a lot. So leaving behind the table and just moving over here, we have my baby proteas, and some of them are in leafy growth, which is good. We have, that's another protea there, Trevisia down there, and this is the South American thing beginning with W, whose name goes up on the screen. No sign of flowers, but it is looking leafy. This is a Solanum, and here we have my big king protea, which is growing even bigger, and at its feet we have Scilla peruviana, which was recently repotted, and I think it needed it because when I repotted it, it went into new growth. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, because as I recall it flowers earlier, but anyway, it's good. If it needed the repot to grow, then I'm glad I gave it to it. And oh yeah, those of you who had a look at my last house plant tour will recall this poor sad Hoya in my kitchen, which desperately needed a repot. It was in flower, but I took it out and I've repotted it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to leave it in the greenhouse permanently. I need to check out the temperatures it requires in winter, but it is certainly a lot happier since I moved it out here, and yeah, I'm glad I got around to doing that. I was feeling so guilty about it. Coronilla glauca here, which is this pea-like bush that produces yellow, scented, gloriously freshly scented flowers, and I'm just getting a bit of a waft here. Very nice thing. There they are. They don't look that amazing, but the scent is very fresh, very nice. And then I want to show you over here. Oh, I did have Xipranthus, the rain lily in flower, but we missed it. And oh yeah, we've got this Hoya Bella is still in bloom. Isn't that pretty? Really nice thing. And below it we have my nerines, which aren't budding yet, but that I guess will be the next thing that these will come into bud. I actually meant to repot them this year, but didn't get around to it. I'm not sure if I'll do that now at this stage. And the shaving brush plant, or Haemanthus Alba is down below. No sign of buds yet, but this is such a reliable flower. I don't doubt it's going to reward me with lots of flowers again this year. And directly in front of all that we have 3 things. We have a Sonchus, which I was given a seedling of, and yeah, it's looking good. We have Drimia, which flowered last year, didn't flower this year. I recently repotted it. Hopefully it'll reward me. And this clivia, now this is a seed-grown clivia that's supposed to be yellow, and it desperately needed a repot. This has spent the summer outdoors in the shelter of a tree with my ensetes and with my big clivia, and I've repotted it, and who knows, maybe this spring will be the year that it flowers. We shall see. And I guess what I really want to do at this stage, after having shown you that clivia, is show you the big clivia and the ensete that I grew from propagation, or propagated last autumn. And we can go over here under the shade of that tree and just check out how they're doing. And here we are in the shade of Joshy's tree, where he's been minding my ensete bananas all summer, and look how gorgeous these are looking. They really do like a bit of shade, don't they? But they have really basically minded themselves here in the bushes. I lost two. Okay, so I guess these were the ones, two of the ones with very limited root, but look at how big these ones are. Doing really well, and that's my big clivia over there. But I guess this one here at the back is the tallest. So I think I'm going to have a sea of ensetes next summer to plant in the garden somewhere. And then just panning up here, I guess to mention this Haemanthus, which has flowered. Humilis. This is my biggest Haemanthus, which really enormous leaves. Look at that. And as you can see, it flowered. Maybe it'll make some seed. Maybe I'll sow them. Who can say? So many variables. And here's just a glimpse of that corner there with my two frangipani, or plumeria trees, which are looking good, but they didn't flower at all. I think it was last year I repotted them, and they've produced a lot of leafy growth, so whether that will translate into flowers next year or not, I'm not sure. And behind them, the orange flowered Brugmansia, which has done amazingly since I potted it in the border. Now I'm going to be really disappointed if I don't get an absolute mass of orange flowers on this specimen going into winter, because it certainly looks really, really healthy. And that brings me to the end of this greenhouse update video, which I hope you've enjoyed. And if there's a particular plant that I didn't mention this time that you wanted to hear about, please jot it down below and I'll try and remember to include it in the next update. In the meantime, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, then please consider subscribing so that you get notifications and you don't miss out on a single video. And finally, of course, to everyone entering to the competition, best of luck. And if you're not in the competition, then consider purchasing my book, Journal of an Irish Garden, so that you can be in for a chance to win in competitions we may have in the future. And of course, the merchandise, like the t-shirt I'm wearing here, is available for sale, and you just need to check out the details in the description of this video. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks very much for watching, and bye.